right. Hey, what's up and welcome back. I have an incredible lady on the podcast with us today. She is the host of the Mouthing Off podcast. She was a former contestant on season 20 of The Bachelor with Ben Higgins. And she is just, well, she's going to get her master's now.
What the heck?
She
am
is
I?
just, she's turning some, maybe past challenges into light and just a triumph after the other. And I'm so excited to have her on the show to share her story.
Thank you.
Share her journey and inspire the lives of others.
Yes. Time. Hopefully I can inspire. We'll see.
Yes, you are. You are inspiring. So I want to welcome Miss Olivia Caridi.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Woohoo.
Yeah, girl.
An intro. I certainly don't give my guests an intro like that. I should take notes. I'm always just like, it's Kelly. Yay, let's go. So you've inspired me. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'll be more professional.
No, but I love everyone has their own flow in their own unique way. I will probably at some point.
You'll change up your whole aesthetic and your plan and everything at least 400 times before
I'm sure.
End of year one of your podcast. But this is just so exciting that you've done it. You've made it happen.
I know. Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been, I mean, I've literally had my microphone for like a year and a half. So it's time.
You've done it.
I'm doing it. I love it.
Girl.
Oh my gosh. So I have to be totally completely transparent with you. It was like super funny. After I think I had probably like seen your name, heard your name, stuff like that. But I was like, I've never been like a huge like bachelorette binge watcher ever. There's been a few seasons that I have watched. Or more or less some episodes of some seasons that I've watched.
Right.
Never like from the beginning to the end. But that just goes into the sole reason that I was like extremely just like constantly like working all the time. And like, I never had time to watch TV in general. So, or I never.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, probably so. But I was like, when Love is Blind came out and you had, I saw that you had like started following me and liking some stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, like who's this girl? And then I just was like, oh, she's just like an influencer. I don't know.
That's me.
It was so funny. And then you like had Jessica on your podcast. And I was like, oh, that's really awesome that Jess is on her podcast. I really don't know who this Olivia girl is, but she's somebody.
I could say that I'm somebody, although in many ways I'm nobody as well. So
whatever, no. But it was so after you and I connected, when you invited me on your podcast just recently, I was like, obviously I need to like know more about this girl. So I like Googled you.
And then it got ugly. And then it got really ugly.
No, it didn't, because it actually, I mean, whatever article I read online, obviously it shared a bit of your journey and, you know, from The Bachelor, how you got villainized, you know, whatever the case may be. And I mean, honestly, I got emotional because I was like, I totally feel her. And it's like, I mean, again, I don't know the degree of that or anything. However, just the more or less, I feel like I felt the similarity in just how terrible people can be out there. And I know that you felt that, and like, just, you know, people from social media just telling you you're an awful person and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just so sad how you don't know someone personally, like cut shit, people.
Well, it's just like, I remember, like, I think I know myself pretty well. And you know, I'm not someone I was a news anchor before I did the show. So like I was a semi, you know, public figure on a small scale.
Oh, cool.
And I had people, you know, that would email me after a newscast and say like, I didn't like your shirt or your lipstick looked bad or things like that. So like, I read that stuff before. I just had never expected like the scale. You know, I went from having X amount of viewers to having like 11 million. And I just wasn't, I was a Bachelor fan my whole life. And I would laugh at some of the contestants, or I'd be like, haha, she's acting so silly or whatever. But I would never think to like get on my phone and follow this person and I don't know, write on this person's page and say they should die. Like, that's just not something that I even conceptualized as a person for myself and for other people, because I had just never seen it before. And then, yeah. And you know, when you're going through the process of casting, they don't tell you like what to expect. They don't tell you, you know, if this goes badly for you, like get ready or whatever. And so, yeah, I had to learn it, unfortunately, just on my own. And yeah, I saw a different side of people for sure. That was terrifying, literally terrifying. So
yeah. It really is. And it's just, it's, you know, we try, I guess, obviously, as you know, I'm a mindset coach. And so I understand a lot of things are just projections. Like people just like don't love themselves. So they're just going to project the hate onto other people. But it's like you said, it's how, like, it was not even in your realm of consciousness. Like you would never do that. So it's like, you know, we just have that expectation of other people sometimes. And obviously that's why disappointment is a thing, because that's what happens.
The way we want them to. That's wild.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny because like on one hand, I understand that people believe what they see, right? Like I didn't like watching myself either. Like, don't get me wrong. I probably thought like, ugh, that was a bad scene, or ugh, I can't believe they did that with what I gave them or whatever. But still, like, I would hope that people would be at least aware enough to think like, oh, you know, this is a show. There's a lot that goes into this, but people don't know that, right? They're just acting off of what they see. Now, do I think humans should act on what they see in the way that they did? No, but I don't blame them for not enjoying watching me, because I didn't enjoy watching whatever was created of me.
Right.
So I try to have that attitude. I didn't have that early on. This has taken 5 years to, because 5 years, I mean, it took a long time to even like make peace with my whole experience. I just was so mad for years, you know? Finally, it's over.
What did you do? And I know you've probably talked about this, you know, for 5 years, but now that you're new to me. Well, and it's a great message, because if I don't know, you know, if I was unsure, there may be other listeners out there that are unsure, but totally. I know the message is just relevant in all ways, you know? So
I mean,
what happened?
Yeah, I give this advice. I always reach out to villains from a variety of shows. Hence why I reached out to Jess at first, because one, as a villain, I'm like, okay, you know, this is, I got to reach out just because this is all BS, but also just as a helping hand or whatever. Not that I'm like the spoken villain that knows better than anyone else, but you know, those people are lonely. They feel sad. So anyway, what I did personally, and I always advise this, I gave my sister my social media and I said, change all my passwords. Now, I didn't do the show to be an Instagram influencer. So if that's why you're doing it, I don't recommend doing that, because you miss out on all sorts of engagement. I mean, if you're a villain who can like own it and like live with whatever anyone is saying, go keep posting whatever you want to do. I just couldn't do that. I had to remove myself completely. And so, that helped a lot, kind of living in like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Like I just didn't even, I saw one episode and that was enough for me in terms of social media. And then, I did a lot of therapy. I was actually like shopping for therapists. Like I had, you know, no one therapist is like one size fits all. So I think at one point I had like 3 different therapists. I started antidepressants, which I'm still on to this day. And I don't rely on it completely for everything, but it did help me and still does. And then, I just had to rely on like my friends and my family. And there was a while there where I just wouldn't see anyone but them. Like I just knew I couldn't go out in public because I had these insane feelings that people were talking about me, even if they weren't, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, there's no one way to fix something like that. But in terms of how to fix any kind of mental health scare, if you will, is just, you have to focus on yourself. You have to lean on people who love you, and you have to like do a talk out kind of therapy. Like I really believe in that for sure. I don't know. There's no welcome advice, please, if anyone has any better ideas.
No, absolutely. No, I think that's wonderful advice. I am a very, very strong advocate for therapy. I think, I'll tell you this, like I went to one therapy session. I mean, this was 15 years ago. I had a trauma per se.
Yeah.
And I went to one therapy session. I did not shop the therapist, which I should have done, because the one therapy session I went to, it was not helpful. The woman looked at me like, what, like, well, why did you do that? Like, why did you go back? And I'm like, I don't think that's what you're supposed to do as a therapist, is be condescending.
And what's funny is like, that might work for some people, right? Like, and that's why I believe, the first therapist you go to is likely not going to be the one, right? Like, it's almost like dating, you're telling this person some of your most, innermost traumas, fears, whatever, you name it. And the way they respond to you is how you deal with it. And I mean, someone might want talk therapy where you're going back and forth. Mm-hmm. Another might just want to talk the whole time and have someone that's, maybe at the end might say like, well, how does that make you feel? There's all different kinds. So and now they have like Reiki and all this stuff. There's all sorts of stuff.
There's all sorts.
I'm open to it, but
that's
definitely don't commit for sure right away if you don't feel like that's the right fit.
Yeah, for sure. And don't not keep pursuing just because you don't think that, the session didn't help you or something, because that's what happened to me. And I will 100% admit to the fact, had I just stayed with at least going to therapy in general, I'm grateful for my life and where it's at, but it would definitely be in a different space. I would definitely be in a different place.
You probably wouldn't have done what you did.
I probably wouldn't have done Love is Blind. I'd probably be happily married with 5 kids. Who knows?
Maybe not.
Who knows?
I love playing that game. What would have happened had I done this or not done that?
Right, exactly. But, I'm here now, and that's why I'm super grateful for the path that I did choose,
100%.
But with all that being said, I mean, since I worked with like a mindset coach, and I've worked with other spiritual coaches and healers and all of that, I'm like, I totally am one myself, so I'm biased, but like the whole mindset coaching, life coaching, like all of that stuff, as well as therapy and psychiatry, please go do that stuff. Help yourself, choose that, don't just sit and, be like, we are all victims to, the challenges, the darkness that's going on in our heads, of course, but we can get the help that we need and desire, and it will make us a better person. It is hard to talk about those things, that especially those who have gone through traumas, like, and what you went through is a trauma. Like,
it sure damn is.
100%. Like, it felt like the world was just tearing you apart,
Didn't like me.
Yeah. And that's not a good, rejection is not a good feeling to feel ever.
So many rejections in life.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah. No, but I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. So tell us, what, I guess, is that what encouraged you to start Mouthing Off podcast, or what was your big, like, I need to talk to all the villains?
What's so weird is, okay, so when I was on the show, this was back in 2015. It's not to say that, like, I think podcasting is amazing, and every time I see a new one pop up, I'm so excited, but podcasts didn't really exist back then. Like, podcasts are a new thing in the last, 3 years or so, right? Mm-hmm. So back in 2015, I was asked to do a podcast with a girl on a big Bravo show. I don't know if you watch Bravo, but she has a big podcast, or had a big podcast. And I hadn't done many media, interviews or anything, because I was just like in hiding, as I kind of was alluding to, but I agreed to do hers. And so, I was living in New York at the time, and went to what was then CBS Radio. And I went in her fancy studio and talked to her, and someone came in the room right after and was like, we were listening and we have a great voice. You live in New York. Like, would you ever want to do a podcast? That was my first podcast I've ever done, ever listened to, anything. So I was like, okay, what's this? I'm open to hearing about it. So we did like, an idea session. And the irony with the title of my podcast. It all ties into what I did on the show. And I didn't know that I do this, but whenever I feel any sort of like excitement or emotion, I guess I open my mouth like really wide. I had like, if you watch clips of me on the show, I'm just like every other second, my mouth is just wide open. And so I thought, okay, what's that quote? Like if you can't beat them, join them or whatever. And everyone was laughing at my mouth. So I was like, well, I'll just laugh at it too, you know? So I went into this creative meeting and I was like, if there's one thing I know, it's that I have to laugh at myself. Let's create a spin on like me talking, them talking, me using my big mouth. And that's how it came out, mouthing off. And now it's been almost 4 years, which is so crazy. Yeah. 4 years.
That's so
in
cool.
March. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Wild.
Fell
into my lap. It literally fell into my lap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, something that I like to do, the goal of my podcast is not, it seems like it's to get people to like break their contracts or like piss off production by talking about their experiences, which like maybe that's the case. But my goal really is to get to the gist of like what really goes on, because I felt so annoyed that I couldn't like that there were all these things that I wanted to say that happened. Like, no, this is why this happened. And this is what you missed. And, you know, some people are willing to go out on that limb and like actually tell their stories. And so that's really exciting for me. And that's kind of where it started. And that's why I like villains, because they're the people that are like, wait, this happened or whatever. So yeah, I've pissed off a few producers in my day, but that's fine.
That's okay. Live your truth.
Whatever. I'd like to think it's just people speaking the truth, which is maybe why it's done well, but you know, who knows? Yeah. I've made a few enemies with
whatever. No. Well, I mean, to speak to that, I mean, I think I got in trouble a couple of times for maybe speaking out of line, but with that being said, I also think that, you know, that's another thing, like, just like what I'm all about. I'm like, be vulnerable, be transparent, open up, share your story, just be like as authentic and truthful as possible, because it doesn't matter if you're on a show or you're just jack your neighbor. Like you need to be open and communicate with people because otherwise all of those emotions, those feelings, those thoughts, that is literally what is hindering our minds from actually freeing ourselves
getting better
and healing. So if we, you know, shun those stories and we hide from them and we don't tell them, then we're honestly, as a person, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, you know, so I'm glad that you do that.
I'd like to think that like, that by me giving these characters an opportunity to at least put context into their behaviors or explain, you know, XYZ, that I'm also educating the reality TV audience, right? Like, I don't blame you for seeing what you're seeing and being like, oh, this person is this, that, and the other. But my hope is that people can understand more by listening to these people that, you know, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You have to look a little further. These people really are like, yes, they signed a contract. They agreed to do this experience, but no one knows what it's like to go through a reality show unless you've done it. And there's just so much of pressure and you don't really behave like yourself. And if you do, like, more power to you. But yeah, my hope is that I can just get people to look at things a little bit differently. You know, it's entertainment, it's fun, but these are people and these are their experiences, and they've hurt and they've cried about the stuff that you've said and you've thought and that have shown to this world. And I hope that at least people who watch my show can say, oh yeah, that girl behaved, you know, silly, but this is why she might've done that. Or like, maybe this is why we shouldn't, you know, I don't know. That's the goal, at least.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's opening people's mind to this perspective of, hey, let's be open-minded about what their experience could be, you know? So I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. Yeah. What would you say is kind of like your, you know, from the dark times that you experienced after your season, like when did you know, like, I think everything's going to be okay?
Oof. Good question. Honestly, I didn't know until like 2 years later,
Wow.
to be completely honest with you. I was in a really dark place for a year. Like I never actively was like, yes, I'm going to commit suicide. But there's definitely those moments, right, where you're like, do I want to be here? Like, do people want me in this world? Like, should I be here anymore? And then I moved to New York the first time, and I just was like lost, right? Like I was making weird decisions and didn't really have a direction. And yeah, I wouldn't say until my show aired in 2016, and I wouldn't say I figured it out till like maybe late 2017, early 2018. Wow. And that, I mean, yeah, what 2 years like wasted acting a fool and not knowing what the hell was going on. But yeah, I mean, and I held a grudge towards this show up until this year when they did I don't know if you watched the Greatest of All Time episodes where basically The Bachelor, they can't film anything or couldn't film anything back in the summer. So what they did was they aired a bunch of shows again in like condensed versions every Monday and interviewed people from the seasons and like kind of like a where are they now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time this year where I was like, I can let go, because I got to tell a little bit of my story. I got people got to see me again. You know, my Bachelor Ben came on and basically was like, I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for you, that I didn't support you, that I didn't tell people to lay off a little bit.
Right.
And that, yeah, 5 years later, I guess that's to say that like, there's no linear path to healing. There's been moments in there where I felt better. There's moments I felt worse. Yeah. But yeah, this year, ironically, like the worst year ever was also a year that I can say like I actually found myself for
That's
sure.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, you know, to relate to that, I think a lot of people, as much as we all can say this year has been shit, it has been like this year of like, because more time for ourselves and, you know, just like deeper healing, you know, whether you even know what that means or whatever, if you've had time to just think and reflect and just bring awareness through things. Yeah. Like it's been such a great awakening for a lot of us. And we may not realize that until next year or 4 years down the road, But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of revelations this year, revelations, right? That word is. Both. Yeah, both.
You evolved. You know, you went around the earth once more or whatever. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny. I'm terrible at social media. I haven't posted on Instagram in a month, literally, but I'm posting tonight, and I actually am going to acknowledge, like, yes, it has been a shit year, but let's actually look at what happened this year, because I think people will be surprised by the positives that they can find from this year. I mean, granted, there's an overwhelming amount of negatives, but I think there's something that people can find that they haven't found before. Yeah. Because of whatever, because of quarantine, because of, I don't know, feeling more connected to people, because I'm a bad communicator, right? But I feel like I've been lonely, so I've been reaching out to people more, and I've been like FaceTiming people more, and things like that, where I feel like I've reconnected, or there's got to be some things. I don't know what it is, but yeah, ironically, that's my post for the evening for the first month.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to comment on it and share it.
Yeah. Will you share, please? Will you post the positive from your year?
I'm going to tag all the cute boys on it too.
Oh, the cute. Yeah, dude. Hey y'all, Kelly and I text each other back and forth with like all the cute boys we wish that they noticed us. They notice me, and Kelly's like giving me very sound advice on how to be noticed, and I'm like, no. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, love it. Oh my gosh. No, but it is so true. I'm glad that you're coming out of Instagram hiding and posting today.
And then it'll be another month before I post again.
That's okay. Hey, that's okay. You do what brings you joy. That's it, you know.
True.
Sometimes we get sucked into Instagram and it's like, oh my God, I just spent 3 hours scrolling. What the hell?
Where was I this whole time in this pit of whereverness?
Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah. Speaking of boys, okay. Question. So since you feel like this year you've maybe have like rediscovered who you are and you feel more comfortable and all of that. I mean, how's your dating life been since that season? And like, do you feel more ready now for love?
You know, what's funny is I'm not a great dater, right? Like I've gone on dates, but I'm terrible. I'm awful. And I fell in love this year with someone and it was great. It also ended this year. But I think what I can say, and I don't know if this stemmed from The Bachelor, right? Where like, we're constantly like, at least in that setting, we're trying to get this guy's attention. We're trying to like do whatever we can to be noticed, and kind of we're doing more to push the relationship along than they are, you know? And I've caught myself in relationships like that since, where I've been doing all the work and I've been showing up and I've been, I don't know if it's like okay with this, but I haven't expected enough in return, right? Like my relationship this year was great in many ways, but I once again found myself where I was giving and giving and giving, and I wasn't really opening myself to the fact that I wasn't being met in the way that I needed to be met. And I don't know if it's just this year or because I've made so, you know, you talked about me being in grad school, right? And I'm going to school. I've moved back to a city I love. I'm like hugging my body more in terms of, you know, I've been someone who's like, I need to diet. I need to look this way. Like, I look great, right? No matter how I look great. I feel great. My insides look great. And I can now say like, number one, I'm a catch. And number two, I'm not going to put up with just doing all the work, right? Like I know that relationships are two-way streets. If someone's not showing up, if someone's not sitting at my table, I can't keep scooting the chair closer myself. Like they've got to do it. Absolutely. And so, yeah, relationship wise, since the show, I admit I don't date enough. I don't put myself out there enough, but I have caught myself in a few like small relationships. And I actually have become close with an ex of mine where I've gotten to say like, I tried so hard to get you to love me. How embarrassing is that? You know, like, ugh, gross. Like, you know, we've all probably been there.
I have.
And I don't want to be there anymore because now I'm at the place, and it was this weird 2020 where I'm like, dude, I'm a catch. I really am. And if you don't treat me as such, on to the next. Because there's a few fish in this sea. I'm telling you, just a few. But we're gonna find them.
No, it's so true. I mean, I've, you know, shared a little bit of my personal situation with you too. And I mean, I had to let go because it gets exhausting. You know, I talk about burnout a lot with, you know, clients or just like on my Instagram and stuff. And it's like, people associate like burnout with like, oh, just like getting really burnt out because you're like busy with work or whatever. Burnout, it can be in any area of your life. You know, like burnout could be like, okay, thinking that you need to run sprints on a treadmill 5 times a week because you need to be skinny and lose weight. Like, no, that is never going to serve anybody, probably. Like you get burnt out, and you can get so burnt out with relationships if, like you said, you're giving and giving and giving, because subconsciously deep down inside, it's like, oh, maybe if I give more, they'll love me more.
They'll turn around and they'll realize I'm worth it. Or
and it's like, no, we have to remember that we are worth it because we are. Period.
We totally are. And I shouldn't have to convince someone. And even, you know, we're both watching Tayshia's season, right? And there's that moment where Brendan like broke up with her. And what did she say? Like, I've been married, I've been divorced. My first marriage, I spent so much time convincing this person to love me. Like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to convince a second person to love me. And it's so true. Like, you might think in the moment, this relationship is so great, there's no one like him. It's not to say the relationship isn't great, but like, you shouldn't have to work that hard to feel like loved in return. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been, it's not to say my relationship was bad. We're still friends. We still talk a lot, but I definitely felt like by the end of it, a little disappointed in myself when I really looked at everything and I was like, I freaking gave it my all and I'm proud of that. But I also put up with, it wasn't even a 60-40. It was like a 70-30.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like we deserve 100 each side, I think.
Absolutely. 100%. And it should feel easy and effortless. Yeah. And I don't mean like, yeah, there's not going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be challenges, but how you both communicate to overcome those challenges, that should feel easy and like a team. Like it shouldn't be like one's giving so much and the other one's just like hiding and not trying to even communicate and, you know, work through things, you know, it's totally, absolutely. And, you know, something that you said like about feeling disappointed or embarrassed about how you acted. I recently had a conversation with a relationship and like love coach, and through just telling her some stories, she kind of pulled that out of me. She goes, Kelly, as much as, you know, you are very aware of yourself and like how you're feeling and what you need to do. Like you said earlier about holding yourself. Like I held myself the other night because I was like, I'm sad. And I feel like I've been kind of like going a little bit. I recognize what I'm feeling every day, but I hadn't allowed myself to like cry lately about and like actually grieve. So I just like sat on my couch and literally held myself and cried like a week ago. But I was like telling her about, you know, I just, you know, I've been not obsessively like analyzing, oh, well, if I had just done this, like, then this could be different, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the thing is that it's a deep rooted thing for me. And I think for many of us that by me doing that, it's not me accepting that, Kelly, you did everything right. Yeah. You know, and I was doing everything right, but it didn't work out because he wasn't ready for it to work out. And I knew that too, you know, but we still, as women, we go back and we psychoanalyze every little detail. And we're like, well, if I had just done this.
Oh my God. When I first met my recent ex, love him. He's great. But my first thought was like, he's way too young. He's not ready for a relationship. Yeah. But I wanted him to be, right? Right. So I was like, I'm not going to force the issue because he did welcome it at times. But I think at the end of the day, what I thought at the beginning ended up ringing true. Right. Yeah. And that's where I've learned to follow my gut, because as we hug our bodies, not only are our bodies working so hard to live every day, I put chips in my body and it still loves me. I'm like, I'm sorry. But my gut is also really smart, and I've abandoned her at times. Yeah. And if I can look back on all the times my gut was like, no, and I was like, yes. Every time I'm like, yeah, gut, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. Yeah. But that's when we sit on the couch and we give hugs and we cry it out because we're figuring things out. People, we're all like a work in progress. I have never met one person that can say, I've done everything right. Right. Everything's great. You know, but relationships are something that personally I've always struggled with. And sometimes I get jealous of the like people. I'm like, oh, relationships are so easy, or people always want to date them. I can't tell you why it hasn't happened for me. I think I've just had to do like different work. But I can say, as well as with other things I've learned this year, is like, I'm super ready for a relationship now. Like 2021, I'm ready to go. I'm good inside me. I've got good things going around in my life. I got my school, my focus. I'm ready. I'm ready. That. Yeah. And maybe your advice will ring true one day. Have you given your people your hot takes on dating or making yourself known to people? Because
what do you mean?
No, like, okay, Kelly has a theory that if I respond to people's stories, like, hey, that they'll see, and I'm shy. Like,
no. My logic is if you like maybe share one of their posts or tag them in your own like Instagram story, then it meant, you know, you get that like mentioned you in a story. So then it'll like, show up in their mentions and they totally see it unless they like disregard their Instagram for a day.
Well, that's me. So who knows? That might, I don't know.
I mean, I definitely, I did a shout out with, what's his face? Blake.
Balake.
Balake.
Yeah, I couldn't get that moving and grooving. I'm really sad about that.
Oh, it's fine. That's so funny. No, I was just being goofy.
I love it.
Whatever. Like, I know nothing about the man except for the little smidge that I know about him, and I'm like, okay, he seems cool. Period.
I think the less you know, the better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. You don't want to like stalk this person, but
you're right. No, exactly. Yeah. Don't like mention them every day.
Hey,
don't mention them any day.
Hello.
But hey, if you just want to like, just maybe get like a little something.
I did that for Tayshia's season. Hello. Yeah. I said what up.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's just it's a silly thing, but
there's
people can recognize you.
People, they can be normal, they can be whatever, but maybe just answer a DM or answer a story. See how it happens for all you people who have social media crushes.
Yeah, have no fear. Just like put it out there.
Advice.
It's never going like, what's the worst that can happen?
Totally.
That's the thing. With anything in life, what is the worst thing that can happen? When you have a fear, what's the worst thing that can happen? That's what you should ask yourself,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything. But, just circling back, what I was sharing about like me kind of like analyzing some things and about you saying like disappointed or whatever.
Yeah.
I just meant to say that we have been doing things right. You didn't do anything wrong and there's nothing to be embarrassed about because you gave so much of your heart. What's wrong about that? There's nothing wrong about that. Yeah. And maybe there's parts of us that tried to, we wanted something so bad that we may have tried to force or control things, not intentionally, but it happened. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It just is. We just want to be loved.
We do. We're
really cool people.
I want love so bad. I mean, it's funny because there's one hand where I'm like, I could give no fewer shits than I already do about finding love, right? Like I'm on the apps. I never respond, never look at them. I don't really go on dates. So I know I'm not helping myself there. And I don't actively think about it all the time. But yeah, I mean, I can vocalize that I'm ready for a relationship. And it's so funny because like the people who are in relationships in my life, they'll be like, well, you think about it too much. You want it too much. I'm like, how much less could I possibly like care and be doing the right thing? Like, I get to say that like, there's no right way of, I'm 28 years old and I have no clue how to go about actually making this happen, but I'm going to put it in the universe. I don't care if people say that I'm thinking about it too much or whatever.
No, I don't think so at all. Like, I mean, there's different ways to do it. Like one, just putting it out there. Like I feel ready. Like I'm very ready for it.
Yeah.
That's more of like, you're putting the intention out there. You're just putting it out there and you're just continuing to go about your business. Okay.
Yep.
There are others that are like, I want a relationship. I'm going to do anything and everything to make it happen. I'm going to go on all the dates and do all the things and like go stand at every bar and restaurant and put out the vibe. Like that may be a little forcing in a sense.
We're not there.
Yeah. And not to say that that's bad. That's not wrong or bad either, if that's what you choose to do. But if you're searching for it and there does feel this like force or control, or you get really just, annoyed and frustrated, that's it. Yeah. When you start to get like annoyed and frustrated because it's not happening, then you're attracting the not happening from happening because you're just putting that, now you're putting that out there.
Into the universe.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm ready for it. It's coming. It's always coming to me.
Good.
Yeah. I always say that with money too. So like I'm a true believer that your like relationships with love and dating is very similar to how your behaviors are with money. So I'm like, money is always coming to me. I want and I desire money. Money is always coming to me.
If it'll come. I believe that.
Love will come. Money will come. Your dream job
Security,
will come. All the things will come.
Dream job. Come on.
Come on.
Faster though, please. A little faster.
Oh my gosh. No, that was good. Well, I am super excited. I fully trust and believe, as stereotypical and cliche as it always is, like it'll happen. Just when you're least
for both of us.
It. And it will.
For the both of us. Yeah.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing. Are you Are you, so tell us about school. You're going back to get your master, or you're going to school to get your master's. What are you, what are you seeing futuristic with that?
So it's funny. For my undergraduate degree a long time ago, my dream school was NYU. Mm-hmm. And I got waitlisted, and I remember I was like, and I'm, hey, like things happen, I think the way they should at the moment. And I ended up getting an amazing degree at TCU and had the greatest time there. But when it came around again for school, I was like, I got to look at NYU again. Mm-hmm. And I found the program that I'm in now. It's the Master of Integrated Marketing. And there's 3 concentration options. I think I've decided, but I haven't really. There's digital marketing, which I think I'm leaning toward, data analytics, and brand management. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-year program. My first semester went super, super well. And I've connected great with my professors. Like, I think the worry was that, like because of COVID, right? The school situation is way different than what anyone would have expected being in school right now. And, there's no networking opportunities. So I've definitely been nervous, right? Like I was hoping to have this, to be able to have those networking chances, to meet people, to like find out about jobs and shake hands, if you know what I mean. And, but I've gotten pretty close with some of my professors, and I know that they're well connected, and that they're gonna, when the time comes in 2022, they're gonna help assist and maybe, help me shake some hands that way. But yeah, I mean, like I'm having a great time. Obviously, I wish that there was more of a student life situation, or like but hey, we got what we got, and I'm super happy in school, and I'm such a dork for school. Like I thrive in school. So I'm so happy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I think when you find your groove and what you're passionate about, like you just want to learn constantly about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like, give me all the books, all the homework, all of it. And then, yeah, I'd like to stay in New York after the fact. I right now I'd love to work in either the beverage space, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, or beauty.
Oh, okay.
I haven't decided. But I'd love to do marketing for, like, have you heard of Topo Chico?
No.
Oh, so many people have not. So Topo Chico is, in my opinion, the best like mineral sparkling water.
Oh, okay.
And they're based out of Texas, the city that I'm from, and maybe that's just why I know them so well. But they could like just explode, right? Like they're just so good, and I want to take them into New York and just like blow them out, know. So we'll see. I'm manifesting a job at Topo Chico after this, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Topo Chico reps. If you are listening, Olivia would love to rep your brand. She could even, you guys could sponsor her on our podcast.
I'd love that. I mean, first of all, let's get the relationship going now, and then I can be on the other end of things in 2 years and be setting up these campaigns for y'all. But yeah, no, I love what I'm learning. I love the content. I love reading about what I'm learning, and having the best freaking time. That's really awesome.
Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
What, this is just a silly question, but where, like in 5 years, where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, where do I see myself? I see myself, I'm going to be a city dweller, I think. Hopefully in 5 years, I'll be able to purchase an apartment in New York City. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be tough, but we'll see. I do see myself in a serious relationship, probably not married. Let's be real. But I do want to be in a serious relationship by then. I'll just be with my dog, Gemma. We'll be hanging out in the city. But yeah, I mean, number one goal for me right now is career. And like, I'm going to get up there. I'm going to be leadership. I'm going to work really hard.
Yeah.
And I, as you say, like money is important to me, right? Like I want to be making money, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Call it in. Like I said, it's always coming to you. It's on its way to me.
At Money Honey.
Yeah. Well, we can do, I through all the trainings that I've gone through, I've worked a lot with money mindset on myself. I mean, I'm literally reading a book right now. It's called Rich as Fuck by Amanda Frances.
Yes.
Like, she's the money guru.
Oh, I love.
She's amazing. So, it gives you like journal prompts to like really help you discover. So I'm up to chapter 4 right now, but all the other chapters 1 through 3 have had journal prompts. And I'm like, okay, Kelly, stop reading and go back and like go through the journal prompts, because they are deep diving into like, what are you so afraid of? Like all of your money fears, which I've done, but like at every level, you get to like another level of fear around things, or you get to another block. And that could be in your relationships, love life and or with money. And it's just so fascinating. Like I literally have like money mantras. Like I write money mantras every single day. And the thing is, like, a lot of people associate, either people having a lot of money, like that with, just negative things, like, oh, people, they just spend it on crap. They're so materialistic. Like there's so many stories out there around money. And it's not that. Like there's so many people that do really incredible things with money.
Totally.
Like, if I could send every single one of my friends a Christmas gift and a birthday gift and a baby shower gift and all the things, and just a random gift because I want to, because I have the money to do it, so that I can bring joy to someone's face, like, why not?
Well, I think my attitude is like, I'm getting financial aid right now. I know I'm going to end up in some debt for school, and I want to be able to come out of this, being able to say like, this was worth it. Like this is, I'm going to pay this back and then some, right? Yes. Like then I'm going to be able to say, hey dad, you covered my college way back when. I'm going to show you that I can give that back to you and then some. I can support my mom one day. Like the goal is that I'm so comfortable financially that I can make everyone important to me comfortable as well.
Absolutely.
That I can do important things like, climate change is really important to me. So any way that I can give and support, obviously we're going in a bad path, but any way to reduce that a little bit would be amazing. The goal is that I can give the comfort of others in some way. So exactly. I don't look at money in a negative way at all.
That's good.
I look at it in a super empowering way. I wish I had the money right now to like help everyone to get out of these rent situations that they're in with COVID, right? Where like the evictions are just out of control. I wish I could help. Kills me.
Oh, I know. Same. Like I've never done a, like a philanthropy work, or, I've never really done that. I don't know if that's like a money story or what, but I've just never had enough money to do that, quote unquote. No. But those are definitely things that I want to be more involved with, and just, take like I want to use the term like mission trip, but like a mission trip, I guess. Not necessarily even, religious or spiritual related, I guess, but just go and just be a part of some type of organization or charity and give back. And I think it's radical when we really can like overcome any type of like money blocks that you may have, and know that you're going to do whatever you do, it's going to be for the, good of all people that you're using that money for. And that you're going to keep making more money so that you can continue doing it. I hope
in 5 or 6 years we can look at each other and be like, yes, honey, we did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We are. We're putting it out there right now.
Hey, lab. Here for it.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, man. Yes, this is so good. Okay, so I think do you want to share? I think I shared on your podcast, and we already talked about it a little bit, but who are you crushing on? Who would you like to like slide back in your DMs?
You're okay, you know what?
My people want to know.
Look, okay, fine, whatever. If it
put it out there, we're putting it out there.
Let's see if it'll work. Okay, I so far, anyone from the Bachelor world I've dated has not gone well, but I definitely see myself in some ways being more comfortable dating someone from this world. And in that case, I watched Ben from Tayshia's season, and I thought we, like, as far as our journeys through mental health, through even like suicidal thoughts, body image, we have a lot in common there. He's just goofy. Like I obviously, but I did slide in the DM. I got hit with the no response, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I'm not mad at it. Yeah, I'm not mad. Yeah, I don't really have like a type anymore, or like an I just want someone who's gonna like show up. And I hate showing up, because that was like the funny thing with like Claire/Tayshia's season, was a lot of like showing up. Like people kept being like, I want him to show up. I don't even really know what that means. I just mean in terms of like they exist and they're like, hello, and we can go from there. That's what I mean. I mean, I have a massive celebrity crush, but like nothing's obviously gonna happen there.
Who is that?
Sam Heughan, girl.
Oh yeah, I think you told me that.
Yeah.
I think that's the person I have to look up, because I don't know.
Yeah, well, I watched Outlander, which is a show. It's on Netflix and Stars. And I'll just tell it. I tweeted one night. I didn't tag Outlander or anything like that, but I just tweeted like, help me, I can't stop watching Outlander. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm pretty sure I peed my pants, but Sam Heughan had liked the tweets, and I had already followed him on Instagram, but he followed me back on Instagram, and I I cried, I think. But alas, we're not in love. It's fine. But it's fun. It's fun. I can be like, oh my God, Jamie Fraser from the show follows me.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I love that.
Things are going really well for me romantically. Yes.
Yeah. No. Hey. Again, you have an open heart.
Ben Smith, and that's the only person right now that I've been watching that I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he is. He seems very just down to earth and humbled, for sure.
Yeah. Goofy, kind of awkward, which I am too. Doesn't really know what to say and when to say it at the right time and all that. I just feel like, but maybe that would be actually like a terrible match, because we would never actually say what we need to say, or would always do it at the time. So yeah, that's also something to consider.
Yeah, right? maybe.
But there you go. That's who I'm potentially crushing on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it'll happen the way it's supposed to happen. Yeah. When you said that, maybe it's kind of like the Bachelor Nation world of like who you're kind of maybe meant to date or whatever, like what did you mean by that?
I just like, I always ask people, especially from the Bachelor world who are on my podcast, like, do you see yourself dating a quote unquote normal person, or someone from the Bachelor, or someone from a reality show? And there's parts of me that's like, I would love to date a quote unquote normal person. Yeah. Because I wouldn't, be caught up in all that stuff. But then the other hand, I'm like, it's been awkward at times dating a quote unquote normal person and having to explain what I did 5 years ago.
Right.
And so, I don't really know. I always just like to hear what people see themselves, what direction they see themselves going, because I don't know the right answer to that, but
no right answer.
I feel comfort talking to people who have been through this crazy thing.
Totally.
When I go on dates, sometimes I feel insecure, because then it's like, then you start, what have you done in your life? And then or they'll Google me, and then it's like this whole thing. So right. I don't know if you feel the same way, but there's that awkward, I have to explain why I have 200,000 followers and why I don't want you to Google me, or why I don't want you to watch the show, or it's just weird. I don't know what the right answer to that one is for sure, but
yeah. I don't think that there isn't a right answer. No, I do feel the same way. Where my thoughts have gone over this last 8 months is I feel like just because we can relate it would be someone else in the reality world, or again, even in this like coaching world, because you know, we're on the same page about our, you know, our healing journeys and like what we need to do and that kind of thing. So, you know, maybe that's like a part of like where I'm like, you know, I've grown fonder of like, you know, Ben too, you know, but Ben and Blake, because they've been talking about mental health and like that guys need to be vulnerable about their emotions and that kind of thing. And it's not something to like take lightly, to, you know, shun guys for crying or being vulnerable and transparent, you know? So I think that's maybe more why I'm like, you know, favoring that type of person too. Because it's like, oh, the reality and then the mental health. Perfect.
you have it all. You can have Ben. It's okay. You can have him.
No, no, I'm just like, I'm drawn to him in the fact of like, yes, I'm like cheering him on. Like, that's awesome that he's talking about that stuff, and they both are, you know.
And it would be great. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's one day where I meet someone and we're on a date and I explain what I did and they don't run for the hills. And that would be amazing, because then it's like, there's that other side where I love dating someone who has 600 followers, right? Who doesn't, there
is a person out there for the both of us, for any of our listeners. They just have to be open to your experience. They have to be open to communicating. They have to be open to where you're at too, and you growing together, period. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter, you know,
just non-judgmental.
Yes.
You can make it happen.
Yes, exactly. I wholeheartly 100% believe that. It was interesting because I don't know, I got on like Bumble like maybe a month or so ago, and I didn't have my Instagram linked to my Bumble. Like, I just had like the few pictures, whatever. And like the bare minimum stuff. And like one guy was like, oh, like some of your like Instagram or whatever. And I was like, no.
That's an immediate turn off for me.
It really is. I'm like, why do you need to know what my Instagram? Oh, so you can see more pictures. I mean, there's 4 for you to check out. I'm the person that's in those pictures. Like,
those are good enough.
So. Yeah, but I gave it to him, and he like wrote back, and he was like, oh, that's why you didn't want to give it to me. Yeah. I was like,
I'm just.
That was it.
Yeah, not into that. That's an immediate turn off for me. Learned that.
Yeah.
No sharing of the Instagrams.
Yeah, it was like so interesting. And then this other guy had good conversation with this other guy. Didn't turn into anything, but had good conversation with him. And then we were talking about like, I don't know, like the most whatever that's happened to you. And I was like, like I actually did a show. I didn't want to tell him the experience, but I did. I wound up like coming out and saying it. And then he was like, wait, what? And he was like, oh my God, like I legit just Googled. He was like, I legit just Googled you. Like, you are that person. I was like, yeah, I'm really her. And he was like, He goes, yeah, it was so funny. He was like, I told my friend. And
I'm not lying, like, sir.
Yeah, he was like, I told my friend, and he was like, dude, you're totally getting catfished. I was like, no, you're not.
Yes. It's me, I promise.
Yeah, I was like, it's me. It was so funny.
LOL. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
It's all me. But it didn't go anywhere. Dang it.
Yeah. But it's totally fine. It's all good. I'm like, I've been in such creative mode with like coaching and like getting the podcast off the ground and everything. So it's fine.
You're busy.
I'm busy. It's totally fine. But this has been awesome. I have absolutely loved talking with you, and I love the girl talk. It's so good.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. I'm literally going to put you into my Insta caption, and we'll get a conversation with everyone going about the good things that happened this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would absolutely love that. But, you know, I just want to highlight you again for, you know, turning darkness into light, because that is exactly what your podcast is. I mean, you are giving, you have created a platform for people to share their truth. And I just commend you for that. And for,
thank you,
you know, not staying in your darkness, you know, our world. That's what's awesome about all of us. We all have a gift. We all have a light. Sometimes it takes a freaking crazy shit storm of a show to bring it out of us, but we do.
Absolute shit storm. You too. I mean, you know. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is awesome.
But we're here. We did it.
Yeah. So where can people find you? Where can people find you?
I didn't really build myself up that well on Instagram, but my Instagram is at Olivia Caridi. My last name is Caridi. I'm the same on Twitter. But the most important thing to me is my podcast, which you can find anywhere you listen to podcasts in your life. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iTunes, all of them. And yeah, it's called Mouthing Off with Olivia Caridi. And I have reality stars on, not just from The Bachelor, from every show you could ever imagine. Love is Blind is one of them. And yeah, that's where I can be found. Please find me.
Yay. Yeah, please find me.
Please,
especially Ben Smith.
Ben Smith, please find my DM. Thanks. Bye. Oh God.
Oh my God. I love it.
That's me. Super awkward.
Oh my God. You're so cute. Oh man. Well, thank you so much again. This has been awesome.